You've probably heard much about the environment in your daily life. One popular topic that people continually try to warn you about is the human impact on the environment. We've heard the common terms of too much pollution in the air or endangered species, but is that really there is all to it? I think for us to truly realize what our human impact is, we must go deeper. We need to examine our impacts on bodies of water, the atmosphere, and the land. In this video, I will go past the common effects we all know to explain what more our impact is on oceans, rivers, air, and the ground we walk on every day. Let's start with the place that life originated from, the ocean. The ocean covers 70% of the surface of Earth and contains nearly 50% of all species on Earth. Humans have made more of an impact on oceans than you may think. Three of the main impacts are the constant fishing of marine life, dangerous chemical reactions occurring, and sea levels rising. Overfishing is a direct effect that we have on the destruction of diversity of wildlife in the oceans. Overfishing is the process of catching marine wildlife faster than it can reproduce. As our population and technology grows, more ways are being devised to mass catch fish. As of today, 3/4 of the world fish is harvested faster than they can reproduce. A popular species, blue bluefin tuna, is expected to be extinct in a couple of years. In addition, about 27 million tons of marine life, including 300,000 whales and porpoises, die entangled in fishing nets. The ocean absorbs about 1/4 of all the CO2 we release in the atmosphere each year. Even though this may seem great, there is a downside to the CO2 absorbed by the ocean. It is changing the chemistry of the seawater, a process called ocean acidification. When carbon enters the ocean as it follows, the chemical equation is shown. These ions greatly damage the marine life in the ocean. Small sea snails, essential to sea ecosystems, have their shells dissolve in this acidity, and are expected to be extinct by the end of the century. Coral reefs are becoming bleached and losing their ability to become the center of life. This higher acidity can affect fish senses and cause eggs and larvae to not develop properly. Overall, marine ecosystems may change for the worse and become less vibrant and diverse. I'm sure many have heard of global warming. It is apparent that climate change is occurring in our atmosphere. Systematically, the global temperature has been rising. Our ice caps and glaciers around the world are melting at an alarming rate. Over the past 25 years, the average sea ice area of oceans has decreased 15%. In 2007, a United States Nations panel of 2,500 scientists from 130 countries concluded that ice caps will probably be completely melted by the year 2100. A recent study said that we can expect the oceans to rise 2.5 to 6.5 feet by 2100, enough to swamp many of the cities along the U.S. East Coast. Bodies of water are also greatly affected by various chemicals and chemical compounds. To name a few, pesticides, fire retardants, fragrances, detergent degrades, and caffeine. Depending on the aquatic life, these chemicals may be very harmful. Two chemicals that can prove fatal to many bodies of water and are common are nitrogen and phosphorus, commonly found in agricultural runoff. These chemicals are nutrients that greatly aid in plant algal growth and cause what is known as eutrophication in bodies of water. In eutrophication, algae uses the nutrients and grows in huge amounts. When this algae dies and decomposes, huge amounts of oxygen are used up, causing the water to be hypoxic. The area becomes a dead zone void of almost all aquatic life. Humans require fresh water to live. Of all the water on Earth, only 3% is freshwater. Only about 1/3 of that water is safe and available for us to consume. About 50% of the United States population depends on groundwater for drinking water. Groundwater contamination occurs when man-made products such as gasoline, oil, road salts, and chemicals get in the groundwater and cause it to become unsafe for human use. We have also created the problem of overuse of groundwater. Groundwater depletion is primarily caused by sustained groundwater pumping. Excessive pumping can lower the groundwater table and cause wells to no longer be able to reach the groundwater. This leads to increased costs and erosion in land. The atmosphere is the layer of gases that surround the Earth, which includes the air we breathe. In the layer we live in, the troposphere, the air is mostly made up of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.8% argon, and 0.04% carbon dioxide. Our human activities may be making a negative impact on this life-capable ration. Humans may be releasing chemicals into the air, causing changes in temperature, destruction to atmospheric structure, and new atmospheric conditions that would prove to be harmful. Most of us have heard of the terms global warming or climate change. As our populations grow larger and larger, the consumption of more energy is inevitable. However, in humans' production and pursuit of this energy, many greenhouse gases are released. The main greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, mainly for the burning of fossil fuels, methane, from the emitted in transportation of fossil fuels and decay of organic waste, and nitrogen oxide, emitted during agriculture and industrial activities and combustion of fuel. Greenhouse gases trap the Earth's infrared radiation. Each year of the 21st century is among the hottest in history. CO2 has risen by 31% since the 19th century and is the highest in 650,000 years. By 2050, due to global warming, 15 to 37% of our plant and animal species could be wiped out. The ozone layer is a concentrated layer of ozone molecules in the stratosphere. The ozone layer primarily benefits us through the absorption of harmful UV rays. If a human is exposed to UV rays, then medical conditions can lead to skin cancer, cataracts, and weakened immune systems. Exposure to high UV rays can also result in reduced crop yield and disruptions in the marine food chain. Ozone depletion is caused by the release of chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, and other ozone-depleting substances, which are widely used as refrigerants, insulating foams, and solvents. 190 countries banded together to form the Montreal Protocol to phase out CFCs and other products after the ozone hole was discovered over Antarctica in 1980. Ozone should return to the ozone layer by 2050. Smog is a relatively recent atmospheric condition in history caused by humans. Smog is an air pollutant that appears as a blanket of smoky cloud over an area. Smog is generally separated into stages: emission smog, smog caused by too many emissions, and then a photochemical smog. Photochemical smog is the chemical reaction of sunlight, nitrogen oxides, and volatile organic compounds in the atmosphere, which leaves airborne particles and ground-level ozone. Often, temperature inversion occurs and traps the smog to the ground of cities. Smog can cause emphysema, bronchitis, asthma, and can interfere with the body's immune system. The Great Smog of 1952 in England lasted 5 days and killed 4,000 people, with 100,000 ill. Finally, we get to the land we walk on. The world's population has grown 30% since 1971, and the growth rate continues to increase. Scientists at one time originally thought the Earth's carrying capacity would only be 2.4 billion people. Humans make a large impact on the land of Earth, often negative. We mainly make impacts looking for resources, applying chemicals, or disposing of waste and finding new land to build upon. Mining also makes a large impact on the land. Mining is the extraction of valuable materials from the Earth. Most mining is done on land, either as surface mining or underground mining. Mining has used many sources of materials, from large machinery to explosives to corrosive chemicals. Mining also has many environmental factors. It can cause watershed contamination, massive erosion, depending how old and large it is, can cause large sinkholes. Mining destroys many local ecosystems by disposing a lot of waste, often acidic and metallic, contaminating the soil and leaking chemicals that could also affect human health. The Martin County coal slurry spill, when a coal slurry broke into an abandoned mine, transferring 306 million U.S. gallons into the Tug Fork River. Humans also make an impact finding resources through agriculture and deforestation. Agriculture is the process of specifying certain land to produce food. Often humans find this land is optimal for agriculture but has too many trees or rocks in it. We remove these from the land that will be used through methods such as deforestation. Deforestation is the process of clear-cutting trees from large plots of land. In the end, a lot of ecosystems are destroyed and often never return. Deforestation is often used when land is clear-cutted to build more infrastructure. Agriculture releases a lot of chemicals into the wild through pesticides, fertilizers, and owning livestock. These chemical compounds from runoff can affect local watersheds. Livestock is one of the largest sources of greenhouse gases, responsible for 18% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, as measured in CO2 equivalents. The disposal of waste also provides a large impact on the environment. The main type of everyday waste storage is a landfill site. Modern-day landfills are well built in chosen geologic areas. Underground are many composite liners and layers to the infrastructure. In 2012, the U.S. generated 251 million tons of solid waste. Only 87 million was recycled. Every day, the U.S. throws away enough trash to fill 63,000 garbage trucks. Landfills affect the environment by destroying any ecosystems where the landfill was placed. Landfills also give off 40 to 60% methane, along with the remainder being mostly carbon dioxide in their gas emissions. And finally, dangerous chemicals can form leachate and leak out of the landfill into the ground and possibly contaminate the water supply. A lot of our impact on land, as well as bodies of water and air, can affect the wildlife present by either directly killing the wildlife, destroying its ecosystem, or disrupting its food chain. Often the greatest effects occurred when a disruption in the food chain occurs, because it ends up affecting multiple species at a time, rather than one direct species or one separate area. The importance of a source of food is explained by trophic levels. Trophic levels show the level of an organism based on where it is on the food chain. Normally plants would be on the first level, and top carnivores would be on the last level. However, if something happened to an organism on one of these primary levels, it would affect a species on all the levels above it. A famous example would be how the chemical human-made DDT pesticide was used in the 1900s to kill mosquitoes. This chemical traveled in its way from mosquitoes to fish to bald eagles. It was soon discovered bald eagle eggshells were really thin because of DDT consumption. Similarly, chemicals seen in previous parts of this video and other harmful compounds and impacts which cause disruption in food chains can cause major loss in biodiversity. We're currently experiencing the worst spate of species die-offs since the loss of dinosaurs 65 million years ago. We are losing 10,000 species each year, with human intervention increasing the rate by almost an estimated 1,000%. Overall, these are some of the main human impacts that are made on land, in bodies of water, and in the atmosphere. You may have already known about some of these, but hopefully you took more information in. Even though this may seem depressing in the end, we can follow the sacred 3 steps to ensure that we help as an individual. These are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce the amount of waste you generate and the chemicals you dispose of. Reuse everything that you can, or upcycle to turn your waste into a new item. Recycle as much waste as possible. One other thing you can do is help let your voice be heard is to volunteer or join an environmental organization group. This way, many voices can be heard for the same cause. Thank you for watching.